Hello guys, and welcome back. This is another episode where we're going to be doing some cutting, chopping, hammering to the RX8. So on this episode, I'm going to be mounting up this radiator that I got here. Little backstory, this radiator is from another car that I have sitting and will eventually come back to life. But for now, it doesn't run, so it doesn't need any cooling. So we got this radiator. It's a Mishimoto dual pass something or other. It fits in the space between the frame rails on the car, so if it fits, it sits. So we're making up some brackets real quick. It already had these two mounting bosses, so what I'm doing right now is just mocking up this piece of flat bar, excuse me, to get the bolt hole spacing correct. And then once I do that, I can just cut them out, drill some holes, and fabricate some bracketry. But I pretty much know I'm starting at this point, so that's why I'm starting at this point. So there you go. Flat bar is cut to length. And at this point, I would have assumed that I've figured out the center between the two fasteners that I need to put in, and also establish some overall length. So around those fasteners, there's some type of flange. Okay, so here and now, I'm getting the spacing for the radiator itself. So using the caliper to get some fairly high precision measurements scratched onto this flat bar, and I see the center punch over on the left hand side there, and that is gonna help locate our center drill. And don't mind what I'm using, that's not a hammer, but it has many times functioned like that being on my workbench. Okay, so I've got somewhat of an idea how I want to do this. So there's that plate we just made there at the bottom. I'm going to make another plate on the chassis itself, pop two riv nuts in the frame rail, mount the plate, and then make some little standoffs that connect the bottom plate to the top plate. That way we'll get a very simple. So now that we've got two mounting plates to start off with, I'm gonna mock it up to the car and see if we can kind of get an angle to pitch this at. Look at this angle for some reason, but I assure you it's level. So that bracket is we're gonna build some little branches off of there, mounted here, and same thing on this side. Do the same thing, and then that'll be fixed in its location, and then we will go through and make some clearance for the hoses that need to run. The rad's going to be nice and low, so we'll probably end up building a swirl pot on this side or that side, I'm not sure yet, to get some air out of the cooling system and provide it a coolant head. So let's keep going. Our little bracket things are all done. It's just round stock that I just bent, made the plate for the radiator, plate for the body, put two riv nuts in there, and just tack this up with the MIG. I'm going to go ahead and TIG it together, and that'll be that. Driver side bracket, passenger side bracket there. Just super simple, quick, easy, lightweight. So I'll weld that all around. The rad's got a nice angle to it now. It'll still leave me enough room to run things over the top of the rad if I need to run oil lines or coolant lines or something. So this rad is a radiator that I had just kicking around, and it has AN ports here, and it's dual pass, so it's split in the middle, and both the inlet and outlet are on the same side. So it kind of works perfectly for this K-swap because the two coolant lines go back there. It's not one on this side, one on the other side, like a lot of cars. So this should work out good. So once we're done, we're going to run two AN lines to the coolant inlet and outlet, and then that cooling system should be practically finished up for the radiator. total time to make the brackets, I'd say it was probably about 5 hours between like cutting the plates, top and bottom, making the little brackets, melting it up, cleaning it up. But happy. Progress over perfection. Mounted up. Excuse me. Nice and solid. That's definitely not going anywhere. Something that should make like assembly, reassembly pretty easy, because you have two different ways to take it off. And also thought consciously about the structure that's going to go behind this, because obviously you don't want the air to come through and then just kind of spill out everywhere. We want to make sure that the air is going through the radiator. So it's going to come in here, go up through the radiator, out through the hood, and eventually we'll get to building some kind of duct system. But really I need to prioritize in getting this thing running, and then we can build all the fancy cool stuff later. But anyway, very strong, solid, round, simple, lightweight. The next challenge is going to be deciding what to do with these ports. So these take a fitting that looks like this, with an O-ring seal that goes inside the radiator. So I'm going to share my thoughts on this. This has got to go in the radiator, in that red thing, in that yellow thing. This has an O-ring, so that's got to go in there. And then you've got to make an AN line here, which is another connection here on the threads, then a connection on the hose part that comes out. Then you're going to go all the way to the other side. So I'm going to see if I can get some just plain Jane rubber hose to go from in the back there. It's really hard to see, but basically that outlet there, and the other one is somewhere up there. Just get those to connect right into here, because the worst thing is, like, you have some fancy setup like this, you get a stupid coolant leak, and you can't just go to the hardware store, get some rubber hose, connect it up, and go. So we'll see about that. I haven't decided yet on that, but radiator looking nice. So I'm gonna call that job.